All right, here we are today. Hello, everyone, and welcome, Dara. I look forward to introducing you here in just a quick moment. For those of you who don't know me, who may be on this stream, I'm Dawn Y. Graber, and my work focuses on helping workplaces truly work for women, not just in policy or intention, but in culture, leadership, opportunity, and looking at systems that shape women's everyday experiences at work. That's where Dara and I are going to have some overlap here today in our work. I partner with women leaders and men in organizations to assess what's really happening within the workplace and looking at the culture to be able together to build practical strategies to improve it. And today's conversation will connect deeply to that mission. I'm joined today on this live with Aladara Adakunli, Alawadara Alakunli. And you can correct me there, Dara. I want to make sure I get your name right. Dara, her nickname or her short name, is the founder and managing partner of Farm Ties Capital Limited, an innovative investment firm dedicated to empowering high growth small and medium enterprises in the agricultural sector. I'm so happy to be able to talk about that. I mean, for many of us, farm realities feel like our grandpa's stories or something, here in the States. So it's so good to be able to learn about how important the whole agribusiness sector is. And especially, I know in the information I read about in Nigeria, what a huge part of life it is, as opposed to even our experience, perhaps here in North America. Farm Ties provides private equity and debt financing, trade and investment facilitation, and strategic advisory support. So you are this numbers, finance, wisdom woman, Dara. Okay. And Farm Ties helps agribusinesses expand, become investment ready, navigate regulatory compliance. I know there was a whole advisory part of your work, and to be able to succeed in global markets. And Dara and the work of Farm Ties are not just talking about raising capital, but they're building models that respond to the realities today for African processors, this mid-level, how do we keep it within our nation that agribusinesses face? She's focused on value addition, sustainable growth, inclusive investment. And I was really interested about how you really point out attention for gender and youth empowerment and inclusion. That interests me, Dara, and we're going to have some overlap there again. She is based in Ottawa, Ontario, and you're there today in Canada, correct? All
Yes,
right.
yes.
So you're up there a little where it's a little cooler than myself down in Sarasota, Florida. And then they also have an office in Abuja, Nigeria. So Dara was interested in bringing 3 points today, which again, I think intersects so wonderfully with the work that I'm involved in and just what does it take to build a workplace that where women can thrive and succeed. And here we're going to have this platform of agribusiness, right? Perhaps not going to the corner bank to work, but in agribusiness, what does it mean for women and men to be able to succeed? So the 3 points that we hope to be able to push out in this live together today, after we do a little talk about agribusiness and the situation in Africa concerning that today, are one, why access to funding still looks different for women. It does in the States also, I imagine in Canada. But as we look for in the agribusiness sector and for the areas in which you work, why is it still different for women, even when women are running viable enterprises? Okay, so point number one, listen for that, audience. And number two, why the conditions related to funding matter. especially if we're talking about workplaces that are sustainable and people centered. If we agree on that's important, and I think Dara will teach us some about that, then how do the conditions attached to funding matter? And then, thirdly, how do we redefine success beyond visibility and headlines towards confidence, resilience, and long term value? You may say impact for women. So, those are important 3 points. Dara, I think you need to write a book because there's so much behind those 3 points. So for those visitors jumping on today or watching this replay, you may be a founder, you may be a leader within an organization, you may be just someone passionate about women's advancement, you may be curious about the agribusiness sector or how systems shape opportunity. Well, you're in the right place, and we're glad you're here today. Dara, welcome. And before we dive
Thank
in,
you.
Dara, I wonder if you might think of what's been a good surprise this week in your life? Something little or big. What would you tell us?
Interestingly, I found myself in a food innovation event, and the innovations coming around food technology was really mind-blowing to me, and I was just super amazed and impressed about it. So that was something I really like, was really surprising, and I was really happy about to see.
Wow. So you went to a conference and you were actually surprised,
Yes,
even though you're in the sector, you were looking at something more than just
yeah,
astronaut food, and it was exciting, something to
yes.
come.
Yes, I'll tell you. So some of those ideas were around, pro innovations that extend the life of food, innovations that help with, the food service industry to enable them to, almost like automate their serving processes.
Okay.
And then other innovations around, just making manufacturing more efficient. So it was really good to see.
That's a good surprise. I was thinking
Yeah.
even like you found an extra piece of chocolate in your lunch or something like that was a good surprise, but you have something more meaningful even.
Yeah, that would have been cool too. Oh, well, I should actually tell you one of the innovations. So
Okay.
there was a robot that was moving around with candies. And everyone kept wondering, what is this robot moving around this event? And when you get closer to it opens up. And when you see inside, it's full of candies. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is really cool.
Oh my. I don't know if the dentists are going to like that innovation, but maybe more work or something.
Yeah.
Well, as we jump in, let's just hear a little bit more of your backstory because I mean, your background is in chemical engineering, I believe.
Electrical. Yeah.
Okay, and electrical engineering. Okay. And yet you founded Farm Ties Capital in 2016. So take us back a little bit. What led you into this work? And can you remember the moment you realized you wanted to build something different? You, as a founder, wanted to build something different.
Yeah, sure. I love to tell the story. I always recommend people to go to our Instagram page because it captures those early moments. We actually started way before 2016. So we started in 2014. I finished my education in 2013. And during my youth service year, so in Nigeria, you serve the country basically for a year. And so during that period, that's when I got into farming. But I like to say it started from the classroom because I was, an electrical electronics, student. I loved telecommunications. I loved renewable energy. I also loved, things around biofuel usage and production. That was actually what brought me to agriculture because my goal was, let's see how we can get into biofuel production. I started with a moringa farm. Not knowing moringa is like a food crop, basically. So as much as you can use the seeds to produce oil and the oil can be, used for biofuel, it was more than that. It was actually a nutritious food. And I started the farm. I started, having people come buy from the farm directly. I started processing into powder and packaging the seeds for some health shops. It was really like a fantastic experience. But then I lived in northern Nigeria at that time, which is known for a lot of agricultural activities. And then people from Lagos were calling me who worked at the ports and they said, hey,